Welcome back to Algebra 1 Honors. This is lesson 2-9. It's called Dividing Real Numbers. And it's a lesson that will help you to save a lot of time if you can remember this lesson. There's one basic thing that they're trying to teach you, and they don't have you actually applying it in this lesson real well. So I'm going to show you why you need to remember this silly little thing, because it'll save you a lot of time when you come to equation solving. Okay? If you look up here, what they're trying to show you in this lesson is that 6 divided by a half is the same thing when you divide by a fraction, or when you divide by any number. It's the same thing as multiplying by its reciprocal. So 6 divided by 1/2, we can change this divide into a multiply here. We can change the 1/2 into its reciprocal. That's where you simply flip the fraction upside down. Okay? So 1/2 becomes 2/1. And then multiply, and we get the answer that we would get from 6 divided by a half. Because what this really means is, how many halves are there in 6 wholes? Okay? So if you had 6 pies, you cut each one of them in half, how many halves would you be able? If you gave each person a half, how many people would you be able to feed? Well, you'd be able to feed 12, right? Because each of the 6 pies has 2 halves to it. All right, let's make sure we get that. So 6 times 2/1, and we're going to get, we remember back in 4th grade or 5th grade when we learned to multiply fractions, we can either cancel as we go or multiply straight across and reduce. Well, there's no canceling to be done here. We go straight across on the top, we get 12, straight across on the bottom, we get 1, and 12/1 is the same thing as 12. Okay? Let's do one more. What if we had 100 divided by 3/4? Okay? What we're going to do is say that's 100. This becomes the times. This becomes its reciprocal. Flip it over. 4/3. Now let's put our 100/1 there. Oh, we still can't cancel. And we're going to get 400/3. Okay? And if we make a mixed number out of that, let's see, we get 1, 3, 3, and 1/3 left over. Okay? So it doesn't come out even. All right? All right, now, here's why this is a useful idea. Because I've watched lots of algebra students, and they make this kind of a problem so much harder on themselves. And it's not wrong. The way they do it's okay. It's just it takes a lot longer. Okay? So let's try using this idea on this kind of a problem. Now, here's a way to think about this problem for those of you who are picture people. This is like we have a cat card in a card game. Okay? And the cat card, when it's whole like this over here, here's my silly cat. Don't laugh. Okay? He doesn't have any back feet, does he? You have to give him a back foot there. Okay. Now he's got back foot. You have a cat card, and it's worth a certain amount of points in a card game that you're playing. Okay? But unfortunately, the dog ate exactly 1/4 of the card. So all you have is this amount. You have 3/4 of the cat card. All right? 3/4 of it. 1, 2, 3, and the fourth the dog ate. Okay? So that's what this equation is actually saying here. 3/4 of that cat card, C represents the amount the cat card is worth, is equal to 60. Well, let's see what we should get. We can look at the picture and do this problem, so that's an easy way to double check. Okay? If we look at the picture, we realize we have 3 equal parts here. 3/4, each is a 1/4, but this 1/4 and this 1/4 and this 1/4, they're all equal parts. And those 3 out of the 4 are worth 60 points. Well, since they're equals, I can say that each one of them, since the whole thing here is worth 60, and these are equal, that's 20 points there, that's 20 points there, and that's 20 points right there. And you're already saying to yourself, well, oh, how silly. I can immediately see that what's the whole cat card going to be worth? Well, the whole cat card, I got to put another 20 back in here. All right? That's what's missing. So C, my whole cat card, just looking at the picture, is worth 80. And when I only had 3/4 of it, when the dog ate this part, I only had 60 points worth. Okay? Now, let's try doing this problem, though, using this idea right here that we just learned. Okay? Because this is really a multiply. 3/4 sitting next to the letter C means to multiply. Right? That's one of the 8 million ways they show multiplication in algebra. So, and from the commutative property, we know that we can switch these two. Right? So we've got C. Okay. And what we want to do here, we actually want to divide, since this is a multiply, right? We actually want to divide over here to get rid of the 3/4. Right? And what we just learned is that dividing by a fraction up here, dividing by any number, is the same thing as multiplying by its reciprocal. So this looks pretty awful here. When we divide, why not, instead of dividing, let's do this. Instead of dividing by this fraction to get rid of it, which is not wrong, okay, let's multiply by its reciprocal. Okay? Now, if we do that on this side, since this is an equation, right, it's a teeter-totter, and it has to stay balanced, we have to do the same thing on the other side. So we have to put our 60 over 1 here and multiply by 4 over 3. Now, this is a lot easier to do than think about putting a complex fraction there, 3/4 divided by 3/4. We multiply here, and this cancels. And we get 1 times C. So our C is equal to, and over here we can cancel. The 3 goes into 3 once. 3 goes into 60 20 times. And now I get 20 times 4, 80. 1 on the bottom, and that's actually just 80. Okay? So when you have an equation like this, where you have, let's try another one. You have, say, 1 or 5, 6 times a variable equals 100. Instead of dividing by 5, 6 here and dividing by 5, 6 on that side, multiply by the reciprocal. Okay, so instead of dividing by a fraction, multiply by its reciprocal. Okay, and if it's an equation, you have to do that on both sides. But it makes it much simpler. Then we get C is equal to 5 into 100 goes 20. And we get 120. Okay? So that's why this is a powerful idea. The idea that when you're dividing by a fraction, you can multiply by its reciprocal. Lets you do problems like this where you have a variable with a fraction in front of it much simpler. Okay? That's what's important in lesson 2-9.